Hello, welcome back to my channel. In this video, we will be talking about real cases of witchcraft and black magic. Two cases that didn't end up well. Victims of brujeria. If you're interested in this type of content, please subscribe and leave a comment down below. With that being said, let's get started. In Venezuela, there is a popular story of a girl who was a victim of brujeria. For respect of the young lady, I will not be using their real names. The story starts with a young girl we will be naming Drea. She's 19 years old. As any teenage girl, she would have an interest in boys. Drea was always open to dating around and meeting new guys. She ended up falling in love with this older guy. They started to get to know each other and ended up in a serious relationship. But what Drea didn't know was that he was also seeing a 15-year-old named Maya. Through time, Drea found out her boyfriend wasn't just dating her, but also dating the 15-year-old Maya. Drea decided not to confront her boyfriend, but to get more information about Maya. Drea became friends with Maya, and all Drea wanted was to gain her trust and steal personal items from her home. It is said to be able to do brujeria on someone, you must have a personal item of theirs. Drea's intentions were to contact someone to help her do brujeria on Maya. So Drea did just that. She became one of Maya's closest friends. According to Maya's mom, Drea would stay over for sleepovers and was always with Maya. Even on social media, you couldn't deny the fact that they were close friends. Some would even say they were best friends. Drea got this idea of doing brujeria on Maya from another friend. She told Drea to summon a dead person from a graveyard so they could help her with removing Maya from her boyfriend's life, basically wishing death on Maya. Drea gained Maya's trust and was always around the 15-year-old. It is said that Drea was able to steal personal items of Maya, such as clothes that she would wear, and even collecting her DNA from a cup she had just used. To make this brujeria work, she had to get human bones, even ashes of a deceased person, and add Maya's personal items and DNA as well. With all the items together, she would be able to do brujeria on Maya. Drea even went a step further. She did what she was told. All she wanted was to get rid of Maya completely, so she had to do some disturbing things. She would blend human bones until it turned into powder and would add it to Maya's drinks. She would also cook for Maya and would use human ashes to season her food. According to the story, this went on for months, and Maya had no idea her best friend was feeding her these things. Maya was currently with her mom, helping her at her job, when all of a sudden, she fainted. She couldn't wake up, so her mom took her home and brought a doctor in. He couldn't find the reason why she fainted. They took her to different doctors, but they didn't have an answer. Maya seemed to be zoned out all the time, like if she was on autopilot and she wasn't in control of her own mind and body. Maya's father desperately looked for spiritual guidance for his daughter. He took her to get a cleanse, and yet that didn't work. Her father, disappointed, took her home. That same night, Maya passed away in her father's arms. She had died from a heart attack. A 15-year-old dying from a heart attack? The body was sent off to get an autopsy. The reports show that she had respiratory problems, but they were not that serious. It is said that the bones and human ashes she had consumed caused her a bacteria in her lungs. After Maya's passing, her friend Drea had been MIA for over 15 days. She came around Maya's grandmother's house and bluntly asked her, "When is the funeral for this chick?" These words are shocking, coming from Drea, a girl that was basically Maya's best friend. Maya's family was disturbed in the way that Drea talked about Maya, so the family walked her in the house just to talk. Furious, Maya's dad tells Drea to tell him what happened to his daughter. Drea, all nervous, didn't know what to say. The family could tell that she knew something but didn't want to talk. They called the police and they picked them up. At the police station, she was interrogated and finally confessed. Apparently, she confessed everything to the police and to Maya's father. She even wanted to show Maya's father where she had buried the brujeria and to take him to the grave of the man she used to achieve the brujeria on his daughter. But unfortunately, they had to release Drea because they couldn't hold her for practicing brujeria. The case is still open now. According to the law, you can practice any religion as long as it doesn't hurt others. In Maya's last days, it is said she seemed possessed by something demonic, and videos have surfaced the internet. This case is very disturbing and leaves you with a bitter taste in your mouth. Evil does exist, and people will go as far as wishing death on others to achieve what they want. Another sinister case that was shared by my family member talks about a relative who will not be named. It's a woman of the family who was cursed and had a dark work of brujeria done to her. We will be naming this woman Valeria. Valeria was a beautiful woman who was a hard worker and was very ambitious. Like every 19-year-old, she fell in love with a man from the same town as hers. In Mexico, there's many little towns and communities where everyone knows everyone. The young couple fell in love and decided to take the next step to their relationship. They decided to get married and move forward with their life. Everything was great. They had their own little home and were both excited to start a life together. Years passed and they had children together. To the couple, everything was going perfect. But in their home, they started to feel a presence that would make itself known in the house. They didn't feel comfortable like they used to when they were just married. As time went on, Valeria's husband, who we will be calling Marco, started to notice a difference in Valeria. She started to do some unusual things you wouldn't think a woman would be doing. On a Friday night at 3 a.m., Marco noticed she wasn't in the bed with him. He starts to walk around the house, checking every room, looking for her. He thought she was with the kids, but no. Worried, he steps outside and starts to look for her around the house, but he couldn't see anything but darkness. He made the choice to walk around the town looking for Valeria. He passed by the neighbor's house, and as he was walking towards the back of the house, he suddenly stopped. He sees his wife, Valeria, laying down on the window. The old houses that were built in Mexico usually had a space between the window and the wall outside. But what makes this disturbing here is that the window wasn't even long enough for a dog to sit on. Valeria was laying down flat on her back. It's like she became smaller to fit on the window. Marco, confused and terrified, decided to bring her home. When Marco reached over to pick her up, he realized she didn't weigh a thing. He lays her down on the ground, and she suddenly goes back to her normal height and weight. Disturbed, Marco took her back home and laid her down. He couldn't stop thinking of how she could fit in a small window. He was so disturbed and didn't even want to sleep that night. He stayed up all night watching her. The next day seemed like nothing had happened, and they went on with their weekend. But Tuesday came around, and once again, she was gone. Marco had to go look for her, and he found her at the same spot laying down in the window. He repeated the same thing he did the last time and brought her home. In the morning, Valeria didn't seem like herself anymore. She seemed dozed off most of the time and would say random things. Marco brought in her family and explained everything. While they were talking in the living room, a scream came from Valeria's room. They ran to the bedroom and opened the door, seeing Valeria laying on her bed with her stomach out. Her stomach had increased and was getting bigger and bigger every minute. They described her belly kind of like a frog's stomach, stretched out. Panicking, they didn't know what to do. Valeria would whisper, "No, no, she's coming. Don't let her in. I'm scared of her." Mind you, no one in the room that wasn't part of the family was there. An hour went by, and slowly her stomach went back to normal. Around 12 a.m., Marco had fell asleep watching her. He heard a weird noise coming from Valeria. He turns to see her and sees Valeria squatting down, flapping her arms, and making a noise as if she was a chicken. Marco, scared to death, tried to calm her down. Once he touched her, she snapped out of it and came back to being her regular self. It's said that Valeria would only have her bad days on Tuesdays and Fridays. There is a saying that on Tuesdays and Fridays, it's the days of the witches, where they go out at night and do their sinister work. During the weekend, she was back to being herself, taking care of her husband and the kids. But Friday came along and she would go back to doing strange acts. Her family made the decision of taking turns watching Valeria. Brothers and sisters would have Valeria over, and she was always being watched. One time, they were grinding corn. They had a machine that would grind corn for them. When they came back inside, they saw Valeria standing on top of the machine, laughing. The family didn't know what to do, and Marco had no idea why his wife was acting in this sinister way. They came to the conclusion that maybe someone had done brujeria on Valeria. Every time, it was the same thing over and over again. Everyone knew that once she started to act like a chicken, it was time for her to jump back to her normal self. Her father couldn't stand seeing his daughter like that, so he started to seek for help. He took her to different curanderos, healers, people who deal with cleanses, and so on. The curandera told her father someone had done brujeria to his daughter Valeria. It was dark magic that was done to her. This work was very strong. She then told him she couldn't heal her and that there was nothing she could do. Valeria's father never stopped looking, never lost hope, so he took her with someone else. This other healer told him he could break the curse and get rid of the brujeria that was done to his daughter. He was charging a large amount of money. Her father went back home with Valeria and started to save money so they could heal her. Once they had the money, they went back with the healer, and he said it was too late. The work they have done to her was too strong to break. She was going to be stuck like this for the rest of her life. Valeria's father asked why, if he had the money, and the healer said, "The person who did this work to her has passed away, and it's impossible to break the curse." The disturbing part about this was that 2 days ago, Valeria's mother-in-law had passed away. Marco's mother was known to be the only one that was never in agreement with Valeria and Marco's relationship. When she found out they were getting married, she was very upset, and it is said she had friends who were into brujeria and dark magic. If her mother-in-law wanted to do a dark work on Valeria, she could. She had access to Valeria's house and was able to take personal items of hers to get the work done. Till this day, it is said Valeria's mother-in-law did brujeria on her, and Valeria never went back to normal. She is now an older woman and still struggles with the curse that was done onto her. This is the end of this video. If you enjoyed these creepy stories, please leave a comment down below. Don't forget to subscribe, and thank you so much for watching. I will see you guys on my next paranormal story.